And welcome to the Reboot Tuesday. My name's Ruben, and this is my review for Netflix's original anime, Baki, Part 3. So it's another day, another anime. We have Part 3 of Baki, 13 episodes at 25 minutes apiece, so let's talk about it. Let me know in your comments below what was your favorite fight of this season, of all seasons, and who is your favorite character. So when last we left Baki was not doing so well. He was poisoned, he wasn't doing well at all, but he was still having to fight and prove his worth. And now for this part, season 2 or part 3, or whatever you want to call it, we have a final tournament, basically, of the 12 Sea Kings, or some of the Sea Kings, and some extra guys that are allowed to join the competition because of their worth. Baki being one of them. He can prove that he is a great fighter. Someone goes to bat for him, and so he manages to do that. But at the same time, the first couple of episodes kind of see him having to rehabilitate himself, or basically survive the poisoning that he's had. And those first 2 episodes were quite tense because you didn't know how he was going to do it. But I have to say though, being that the series is called Baki, there aren't enough Baki fight scenes, which I found very annoying. And for those that do want to know, I'll tell you straight away, there is no fight scene between him and his father. So if you were hoping that we're finally going to get that fight, it doesn't happen. I believe it's going to happen in part 4. I thought this was maybe going to be it, because the way they bring the story around to fruition very quickly, this tournament arc, it feels like they rush the story within the first 7, I think 8 episodes. The arc is basically done. And then they take a storyline that I wasn't expecting to have so much time. In the end of season 2, we saw basically Muhammad Ali's story and his son kind of come into, kind of weaved into the main character arcs. So all the main characters, he becomes one of the main characters, and we get more of his story. It takes a really different tack, this part 3, because the first kind of 7-8 episodes I really enjoyed. I love the tournament arcs, and because we've had some backstory from these characters now, you can kind of understand where those characters are coming from, how messed up they are. Their backstories is basically their fighting techniques and who they are, and what they've done, what they've had to sacrifice to get where they are. And so each of them come with their different fighting styles, which is very interesting. I love the arc storyline with Ali's son, because he takes boxing and turns it into martial arts, and that to me was very interesting. And just, you know, because it's Ali, you kind of are rooting for him immediately. But I have to say again, Baki, the fight scenes with him are not enough. I always wanted to see more with Baki, because he is supposedly the main protagonist, and it's okay. There are other fantastic fight scenes, but because we get to a level now of where these fighters are just at, you know, monsters, they can take their opponents out very quickly, and so a lot of the fight scenes are also very quick. You know, it reminds me of One Punch Man sort of. But there are some amazing fight scenes. It's still very gory. But I do like the fight scenes that we get. And we get a couple of really great ones in this series. I wasn't sure about the change in tone and pace after that tournament arc. I think it's good, but it really shifts itself. And then it builds and you understand what they're doing. So basically they're finishing off the tournament arcs. And then they're building into a new arc, and so you have these characters that we haven't seen for a while come back into play, and so you're like, oh, I see what you're doing now. But it does take a few episodes for you to understand that. My favorite part ended up being the Ali storyline, because I thought that was handled quite well. It's very interesting. I've never seen that done like that in an anime before. I really want to see Baki and his father fight. His father has an amazing fight scene, which is probably my favorite fight scene in this series. So do let me know which is your favorite. I think the animation, again, is solid. I've enjoyed the animation. I know some people have had issues with the animation. I, for one, thought it was very entertaining. I like the sound effects they used. I like the voice acting. This time round, however, Netflix are struggling with COVID, so there's no dubbing at the moment. It will be coming back. If you only watch anime in English, you're going to have to wait a little while, because they are struggling to get that around because of COVID, obviously, as is the case with most of their other animes on there at the moment. So it is staggered, but there is stuff coming, like Scissor 7 has finally had the English dub on there now. There are some crazy character martial arts in here, things that people shouldn't be able to do. So although it's grounded in reality in certain martial arts, it's so very anime, because the way they do things. It reminds me of the old kung fu movies with people flying about, ninjas doing crazy things, and that is part of the fun in this anime. I think I enjoy it because I don't have to know too much about the story. There's a little bit of backstory going on, but it's kind of just an all-out action fest for the most part. And then the last few episodes again is that weird turning point for me. I did enjoy it. I think it was a lot of fun. This is one of those kind of guilty pleasures because I know it doesn't have the best story, not by a long shot, but it's just one of those that you get stuck straight into the action, and it's gory. It's full of those fighting styles, different types of martial arts, and because it is anime, you can get away with a lot, which I think is fantastic. So between the voice acting, between the animation, fight sequences, and the storyline that seems to have found its feet now, I think it's really fun. So I'm going to give this a B+. Do chat to me in the comments below. Let me know what is your favorite Netflix anime at the moment. What was your favorite fight scene, and who's your favorite character in this? Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.